Muslim communities for Lagos State yesterday. Now be small protest, they go protest for House of Assembly. Wetin happen? Governor Babajide Sanwo-olu sent a list of commissioners, I think about 39 in total, to the House of Assembly. You know, when you don't pick the commissioners, you need to send them to House of Assembly for screening. And House of Assembly will not approve before it makes them commissioners. Now 39 member list only send. 31 are Christians, now only 8 be Muslims. Now the Muslims don't gather themselves, go quarrel for House of Assembly. Say maybe the House of Assembly not approve that list. Say that they cheat Muslim for the state. They point a lot of disparities from permanent secretaries to special advisors and other appointments to someone who don't give, and they are mostly filled up with Christians and very few Muslims. Let me read the news for you. It's quite a long read, but we should listen to this news because what did they complain? Plenty. They will complain about hijab, when female students not they wear for Lagos government schools, and they won that case in court. So the female students, according to them, they won in court, and their female students should be wearing hijab in Lagos government schools. Until today, it has not been implemented. But let's listen to this. Lagos Muslims protest. Petition lawmakers over Sanwo-olu's commissioners list. Muslims under the umbrella of the Lagos Muslim community have staged a protest over what they described as official marginalization in the list of commissioner designates forwarded to the State House of Assembly by Governor Babajide Sanwo-olu. The commissioners list released by Governor Sanwo-olu allegedly has 8 Muslims and 31 Christians. Muslims in their hundreds converged on the State House of Assembly complex in the early hours of Wednesday. The protest had in attendance heads of various Islamic organizations and scholars amongst other Muslim faithful, displaying placards which read the inscription, "Muslims say no official discrimination." Addressing a large crowd of Muslim protesters at the venue, President Muslim Community of Lagos State, Prof. Tajuddin G. Ogbadamosi, read a petition which was submitted to the lawmakers. The petition, titled "Petition on the Discrimination Against Muslims in the Nomination of Commissioners," reads, "We are here today to express our grievance and dissatisfaction against the blatant disregard for justice, equity, and fairness in the proposed Lagos State Executive Cabinet as contained in the list of commissioners nominees submitted by Governor Sanwo-olu to this honorable house for your screening and confirmation. As you are aware, the list is a classic case of discrimination and religious bigotry, as it has 31 nominees who are of the Christian faith and only 8 nominees who are Muslims. This is not a new development, especially since Governor Sanwo-olu assumed leadership of the state. As a matter of fact, it has been elevated to a level of official state policy to deny Muslims their deserved positions under the Sanwo-olu administration. For instance, in 2019, when Mr. Sanwo-olu became governor, he appointed 14 special advisors and only one among them was a Muslim. Again, his state executive council, which had 43 members, only 14 were Muslims and the remaining 29 were Christians. Also, of the 23 commissioners, 10 were Muslims and 13 of them Christians. Only 15 Muslims with 35 Christians made up the body of 50 permanent secretaries in his first term. These are just a few among numerous ways in which Sanwo-olu administration deny Muslims in this state their rightful place and number in leadership. The petition further reads, "The Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Member, we want you to note that this list from Governor Sanwo-olu violates the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, particularly Section 14, subsection 4, and is further strengthened by Section 192, subsection 2, both stating as follows. The composition of the government of a state, a local government council, or any of the agencies of such government or council, and the conduct of the affairs of the government or council or such agencies shall be carried out in such a manner as to recognize the diversity of the people within its area of authority and the need to promote a sense of belonging and loyalty among all the peoples of the Federation." 192 subsection 2. Any appointment to the office of commissioner of the government of a state shall, if the nomination of any person to such office is confirmed by the House of Assembly of the state, be made by the governor of the state, and in making any such appointment, the governor shall confirm with the provision of Section 14, subsection 4 of this Constitution. It reads, with due respect, Governor Sanwo-olu's list clearly violates these provisions of the Constitution, and we accordingly call upon this honorable House not to endorse any action that violates our national grundnorm, especially one which equally violates good conscience and natural justice. The argument that Muslims have more elected officials in Lagos State is preposterous. This is even more so at a time when all 6 governors of the Southwest are Christians, and we the Muslims do not complain about this because we recognize that they contested for offices and won. Why must Muslims in Lagos State always beg and fight for their constitutional rights, especially since Mr. Sanwo-olu became governor? We recall with utmost sadness, really, that until the Supreme Court ruled in favor of hijab for our schoolgirls, successful Lagos State governments never felt it should endeavor to align with the global best practice of accepting hijab in addition to abiding with the rule of law. The historic pro-hijab judgment was delivered in March 2022 and globally acknowledged. However, Governor Sanwo-olu's government, in its particular idiosyncrasy, chose to ignore this until a year later, after ceaseless pressure was mounted by well-meaning individuals. We, the Muslims of and in Lagos State, wish to categorically state that the entire leadership of the Muslim community of Lagos State, representing various Muslim organizations, unequivocally and unanimously reject the list of commissioner designates of Governor Sanwo-olu, and we demand a reversal and review to reflect 60% in favor of Muslims in a fresh list. We call on the Lagos State House of Assembly to reject the list as similarly done in Niger State House of Assembly, where a noticeably minority Christian population demanded the reversal of the list of commissioners to reflect fairness and equity to them. We also call on you and the House of Assembly to impress on the government the need to respect the diversity of the state's population and to appoint a more representative cabinet. We believe that this is essential for the future stability and prosperity of Lagos State.
Now, I will need us to look at some things critically well. For example, the Muslim leaders in Lagos, it is their job to protect their own, but may we look at well. I don't know how true these accusations are. I've not researched it well enough to confirm if it is true. But if it is true, then there's a lot of disparity in the appointments in the states. We would agree to that. But then, you realize that Sanwo-olu is a Christian. And in choosing people who will work with him, he go choose people when he trusts. Based on the fact that he's a Christian, he's more aligned towards the Christian faith. So people when he go trust are most majorly Christian. But that does not mean we should now come and suppress the Muslim totally in the state. But then, let's look at this critically well. In this country, the president and the vice president are Muslims. The Muslims don't complain about that one. Many times we have heard people, Muslims make some kind of remarks against the Christian faith that Christians dare not make against Muslims. Now, what would they talk about of El-Rufai? He said, there's no Christian man that will try that rubbish and go scot-free like that. Amen. Now, I have been in this state for almost 16 years and is it more than 16 years? I came during Bola Ahmed Tinubu's tenure. Now, from the inception of democracy in Lagos State, we have had 4 governors. The first 2 were Muslims. Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Babatunde Raji Fashola. Now, Ambode come be Christian. Now, after Ambode, it was supposed to be a Muslim governor again. The reason why they brought Sanwo-olu is because Ambode don't finish 2 terms. And they don't go first. Say Muslims don't do 16 years. Then Christian got only 4 years. So they had to get another Christian to do the next 8 years. After Sanwo-olu, I can assure you that the next governor is a Muslim. But if you now have problems with the fact that Sanwo-olu is choosing more Christians, of course he will choose more Christians. You cannot force him to put 60%, because what they are demanding now is 60% appointment for Muslims. You can't force him to do that. I think he should balance it, but to demand 60% is quite too harsh. And again, I don't understand why in 2023 we they bother more about the tribe and religion of appointees other than their capabilities to do the job they are called to do. Nobody's asking if the people appointed are qualified. They are talking about their religion. You see the 2 words wey go cause problem for this country is state of origin and religion. They should remove it from forms. I don't know why people won't write exam, then they put state of origin and religion. Remove it. The day we start removing that rubbish from our forms in this country, now that day this country will start to move forward. Everything is tribal and religious and political before you start looking at competence. And if we continue like that as a nation, our children generation will still cry this cry. What will they cry? We need to start thinking right in this country.